In a search for great fishing, anglers will seek out unique and interesting places to look for their quarry. Sometimes it is where man and nature meet, creating a unique set of circumstances, where fish thrive and grow huge. At other times, the search will take you to remote and untouched wilderness areas where nature rules. We will follow the seasonal migrations as predators chase prey. And we will fish the mysterious depths where lurks the unseen trophy. All of this is part of the fisherman's dream as we try and find out where the big ones are. Well, I'm in the centre of the South Island on a bleak and rainy day, but I'm happy because I'm here to chase monster trout. I've come down with Scott Malcolm from Daiwa and Dylan Booth, who's from Dunedin. He's a young fella who's an absolute legend at catching these big trout. And what do I mean by big? They grow up to 44 pounds. That's the biggest one taken out of these canals in recent times. And that's bigger than some people catching kingfish. So these are really big fish. We're going to have a crack at getting some. In most waters, a 10-pound trout on the old-fashioned scale is considered a trophy. Down here, 20-pounders are not uncommon, and they get even bigger. Well, the young fellow was just giving me a few pointers. He said, cast up here and do this. And next minute, a rod's bent over. First cast of the day. I'd have to put it down to beginner's luck, though, because I was getting well and truly tutored. And it's only a little guy, but it's still a fish. I quickly dealt with this average-sized trout, and Scott hooked up in the same spot.
We're just fishing down through the current with a little dropper-style rig with a little glow bug, and pretty much second cast and straight into a fish. So we're going to get a bit of colour here shortly. Not exactly the monster you come down for, but it's a nice fish to open the account anyway.
This was a tricky spot to land fish, and the slippery rocks needed to be taken carefully. A slip here could be tragic in the freezing water. One of our fishing mates had landed a good fish, so I went to check it out.
I just caught it on a Rapala, slow retrieve but aggressive action, and then I saw it come up and just smash it, and then it was all go.
Dylan's just hooked a monster. Got to fish very light drags in this canal. Scotty, do you want to go and grab that net, mate?
We're at Pukaki Canal today. It's overcast and the conditions are just perfect. We're persevering with these big brown trout at this canal, and you got to use light line and super light, long light leaders. And I'm using a black soft bait and a super light jukey, and I've managed to hook myself a mondo. This is what it's all about. Coming to Twizel, fishing for these monster trout, super light line and light rods, and we're smashing it. Wrapped in that line.
Let him come this way.
Yeah. That is what we come to the canals for. Big browns and gnarly fights. And look at the colour on them. It's a beautiful fish, eh?
Yeah.
Hooks out as well. So I was lucky to land that one. This is awesome. Right, we're getting back in the water, eh?
And what about your drag setting on your reel? I noticed you set it fairly light, eh?
Yeah, well, I'm using light leader, but I'm using heavy braid. The reason why I have it nice and light is because I let a fish let a fish run. I don't really like winching fishing, and I'm using really light gear, so a big fish, say for example like a 20 pounder, really pulls like a train. So you want to have nice light drag and just really work the fish. You tire it out when it wants to be tied, you don't bring it in, and that's when you snap rods and break gear.
Bit of patience, eh?
Yeah, patience is the key.
Cool. Well,
a lot of anglers don't have that.
And what's the biggest fish you've caught in these canals?
My current brown trout is 37 pound, but my rainbow is 33, so pretty lucky to catch something that big, especially at the age that I am.
Awesome size fish, mate, yeah.
Absolute trophy, that's what it is.
I saw him just come in and just smoke it right on the edge, eh?
I saw that,
Pretty epic.
Not often you get to see that.
It was a pretty epic bite.
You never get to see that. This fish here is probably similar size to mine.
It was like a bite you expect from a kingy on a stick bait. He just came in and crushed it.
You always got to have your net handy, especially with these sort of fish.
Oh no, he's going down deep.
Scotty's keeping his rod really high, which is good to keep the fish out of the rocks.
I'll
With
put this on the net.
with the very light leaders that we're using, if that line touches a rock, the fish is gone.
Behind him and hold him on that rock there. Yeah.
The fish is actually too big to fit in the net. Oops.
Get him!
Down in the drink!
Get him!
Bit of drama here. Dylan just about went in. He's trying to grab the fish. For a young fella, Dylan's knowledge and skill are top notch, and I'd learned a lot from him. And I loved his enthusiasm for fishing. He's got him. That's personal best, Scotty.
Oh, it's an absolute tank of a fish, man. I'm absolutely stoked. Used to catching fish in Taupo and come down to the South Island to get one of these beasts, and we've done it in the first couple of hours, so bloody magic.
It's like 2 in 10 minutes, I think.
Mate, it's a pretty special occasion when you get to catch a monster and let them swim back into the drink. I mean, they're a beautiful fish, so no, it's it really sort of adds to the feeling. I mean, a photo's as good as any trophy on the wall, so no, stoked.
Coming up, with monster brown trout live monster rainbows.
This is typically when most fish get lost, and it's a beautiful rainbow.
Better get them back in the water, eh? Welcome to day 2 of our fishing adventure on the canals. It's -2 degrees, so it's a bit chilly. Luckily, I've got all my nice warm gear on. It's keeping me lovely and toasty, and I need it. Joining us today is fishing guide Ben Boothie, and he's going to try and give us a few more tips for how to nail these big canal fish. Let's go fishing. You'll catch big fish all year in the canals, although winter is favoured for the monster trout.
At least we're getting our morning exercise. We're having a lovely stroll down the side of the canal. So who's the boss here, Ben, mate? You or the fish?
Fish by a long way.
Yeah. Nice. Good work, buddy.
That's what the canals are all about.
Is that right? Jump.
Ben Boothie explains one of the more popular techniques for fishing the canals.
We're going to set up a new technique called what we call hybrid nymphing, whereas holding a trout fly and a small ball sinker at the bottom to get it to give enough weight to cast and drift down to the fish. I'll show you how I set it up. Typically running about a 2 metre leader, just so it keeps it well away from the fish. I'm using a blood knot to join a dropper section in. And the reason I like the blood knot is it pokes the dropper out the side. Doesn't tend to tangle and wrap around your main line. Right, this is my dropper setup. I've tied a fly on. Now the bottom this is where I attach my sinker to, is very close to where the fly will be. The reason for that is, once you've hooked your fish, this sits beside the fish, the sinker sits beside the fish and doesn't drag into the rocks, consequently you'll break them off. That's the reason I'm doing that. Now I'll attach my wee sinker, particular flow we're going in, 1/4 ounce ball sinker, allows for a natural drift in this situation. I slide it up the line. What I've done previous is put a wee little overhand granny knot on the end. Now what I'll attach below that, or just above the knot, a wee bit of split shot. You like to treat it like it's fly fishing the backcountry, but with a spinning rod. So we do keep changing our flies rather regular. Don't keep going with the same one over and over, otherwise the fish will just ignore it. That is my rig there, all ready to go. Let's go catch some fish.
You need a license to fish for trout and salmon, and bag limits apply, so check out the regulations.
Playing around here with some big fish. Currents have been chopping and changing and it's been hard to get a real good drift, and I've managed to get my line on this big back eddy and I've nailed something massive. I cannot move it, so I'm a bit concerned. I'm running 6-pound fluoro, a 15-pound braid. Oh, here it is down there.
And we've been waiting all day, we've been persevering, and finally Dylan's hooked up, you know what I mean? It's here it comes now, and it's been worthwhile the wait. It's really a game of patience, and as you can see with Dylan, it's finally paid off.
Been drifting natural little weak patterns, and that's what seems to be the go lately. And I've nailed a fairly big rainbow.
Scotty's coming with the net.
I don't know what I'm going to do with this little thing, but we'll give it a crack.
Yeah.
The first initial bite on this fish was just extraordinary. Just went bang. Hit it like a ton of bricks. There we go, he's coming in a bit better now. I don't see why people bag the canals. You can come here and you can put in the hours and you can catch huge fish like this.
They're angry, eh? They're just snapping at those eggs.
Oh,
Like heat
shakes, bro. I'm shaking. That was crazy.
All you got to do is hope he turns his head and just keep him coming.
Yeah. But this is just a huge fish. Look at the depth in his back. Holy moly. Yeah! Now we're talking. Woo.
Mate, that's a ripping fish.
Job done.
Look at the colours on that, it's beautiful.
Oh, very good. Look how well he's hit.
There.
That water's cold and that's why the fish fight very hard. Right, she's ready to go.
Let her go, mate.
See you, girl. Thank you for the show. I think you've hooked Big Bertha, mate.
Scotty's doing everything in his power just to hold this one up. Make sure it doesn't hook the rock. Holding his rod really high. You can only apply just a little amount of pressure.
mate. It's pretty tense times, mate. We're in the last stages of the fight, and this is typically when most fish get lost, and it's a beauty of a rainbow. Been working hard for this fish. Been casting up into that where that dam comes in for probably the last hour. I've dropped probably 5 or 6 fish. I've just been persevering, mate, and hopefully with a bit of luck.
Yes!
Yes! What a rainbow!
Yeah!
Oh, I managed to get a couple personal bests in 2 days. Got a big brown yesterday and topped off today with a Monty big rainbow, so pretty stoked with it.
Next, Darren dives for Jurassic-sized crayfish in Fiordland.
Today's dive is in the deep south, and it's called the Jurassic Park dive. We're going to find big red crayfish that live down here. I'm going to take my little setup and show you what they look like in their holes. I've got a little torch hooked up here to light them up. We're going to find some big crays. And some of them might even be living in trees, big cracks. Some of them sit out in the open. We'll see what we can find. Jurassic Park dive. Here we come.
Kiwis are hunter-gatherers. It's in our blood. The adventure of catching something big for the pot is what gets us going back time and again to out-of-the-way places. The tannin or fresh water on the surface makes it look really dirty, but underneath it opens up and visibility is good. We're going to hunt some big boulder country that also makes for a spot for seals to sit in the sun. The boulders form the cracks and crevices that crayfish love to live in. It's amazing how shallow some crays live. I've found them in really shallow spots like this before. They get deep inside these for protection, only really coming out at night, or as some of these big males do, to protect their females from other marauding males. Here's 2 big males having a dispute over territory. It's not high-speed stuff, more intimidation. The smaller one isn't sticking around for battle. Crayfish have many predators, but octopus are probably the worst for them. They wrap them up in their tentacles before biting a small hole, normally between their body and tail, then slowly suck them to death through the hole. Even a big cray this size will be taken by an octi and dealt with. He's sitting outside waiting for some girls to come past. He's probably around the 2.5 kgs in weight, a good cray but not a monster. Whereas here's a good one sitting like a king. My good mate Grub Mackenzie has found him. He's probably around the 3.5 to 4 kg range. He's got 4 girls in his harem, which he aims to protect. He's not moving away from us fast and appears to be up for a scrap. He'd be an easy catch if we wanted to take him. Another big male sitting outside his hole facing back at his girls. Grub's having a ball just playing with them. There's no need to catch everything. It's the old story, catch what you can eat. He backs up to his lair. You can just see his mates behind him. We leave them to themselves. The spot we're working here is around 12 metres deep, quite deep for freediving crays, so we've got to be careful. Back up on the surface, one of the guys has grabbed a big cray to gauge its size. It was estimated to be close to the 3.8 kgs. Grub takes it back down and lets him go to breed with all the females on the spot. Just around the corner we've found these girls lined up on the walls, looking for a handsome guy. It's sights like this that keep me coming back. Way in the back of this deep cave I've spotted a lone male around the high 2 kilos in weight, a good size for eating. You've got to be careful going into places like this. Make sure you can get out. It's easy to get hooked up. The more we swim, the more we find. 2 big males completely out of their holes. Diving doesn't get much better than this. On another dive, I find more girls lined up waiting to court some males. I've heard many stories and interviewed old divers that tell me sites like this were common all around places like the Hauraki Gulf in Auckland. A recent study indicated crayfish are so low in number now in the Gulf, they have little or no impact on the ecosystem. The sooner we all start to work together and come up with a solution that will have some effect and get numbers back up in the north, the better for all concerned. We've got to make this happen before it's too late. This male shows why they often survive and smaller crays get caught. He makes sure he gets to the back of the hole when he's threatened. On one of my dives I spotted a big male I estimated to be close to 4 kilos. He was too far back for a good camera shot, so I've decided to go back down. It's around 12 metres. I go slowly to conserve my air and give me more bottom time. He's a fair way back in the hole. I need to gently pull him out as their legs are like big spiders and will grab anything, meaning you can rip them off easily. I give him a little push then pull to ease him out. He's a real beauty and will no doubt fertilise many females in the area. I let him go to do his work.
Well, we found Jurassic Park. It was awesome. As you can see, there was a lot of big crayfish, lots of them. It's nice to put them back in the hole too. Leave them there for next time, keep those big breeders in the water. But they are also good to eat, so we do take the odd one from time to time. But great to see here in the deep south. Big crays.
Hey, you got a smoking style for us, eh?
Oh, it's good. I got a 7mm suit on, and it's quite cold. The air temp today is 8 degrees, and the water temperature is around about 12. Bottom is warm as toast. It's lovely. And it's the end of the day, the sun's going down. It's lovely to get out as warm as when you got in. But it's home time for a shower.
Coming up, Kirk heads offshore to lure some fish from the deep.
Boom! Hooked him right in the lip. Today is all about fishing in the deep. I'm going to use a variety, mostly of lures, I think, to try and get down into the depths, 80, 90, 100 metres deep. There can be some nice fish out here, snapper, kingfish, who knows what else, maybe trevally, who knows. We'll have a little drive around, we'll check for sign. Sign is critical. We want to be getting up ahead of the drift of that sign because you can be drifting, even if you're only drifting at a knot in 100 metres of water is a long way. It's going to take about 1.5 minutes probably for certainly the lighter baits to get to the bottom. So you've got to really set your drift properly. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm just having a little look around, looking for some sign, and we'll get into it. Yeah, that's a lot of sign. The lure I'm going to use now is the Daiwa Pirate. It's my go-to lure. I love them. So in this depth, in deep water, they're a real good, any lure like this is a real good type of lure. Gets down nice and fast, and it's got good action when it hits the bottom. It's got that skirt. I love a lure with the skirt on because that's what it really attracts the fish to it. Often what I'll do is I'll count in my head. It generally sinks, this size lure sinks around 1 metre a second. So if you count slowly in your head, you can work out when it's likely to be in the bottom, or if you see some sign on the sounder, when it's likely to be in that sign, so you can pause it there to see if anything's chewing. So we've got about just over 1 minute till we'll be at the bottom. Let's get down there, see what's happening. Something's got it now. Fish on. Oh, that's a good one.
Nice bit of weight. We're hooked up on the pirate. It's just a nice little patch of fish showing down there in a pretty isolated area. Oh, and it's a trevally. Beautiful fish, the trevally, look at that. Beautiful sashimi. Right, I'm into that drop zone where the fish seem to be hitting it. Something's hit it. Oh, dropped it. Still there. Yep. Oh, gone again. Something's there. Definitely at the right height now. Here we go. So that's what counting can do. I was counting in my head. 40 seconds out of about a 60-second drop. So I'm 20 seconds above the bottom, stopping where I can see that sign. Oh, and I've dropped them. But stopping where I can see that sign, because I can see that they're about 20 metres off the bottom, these fish. So I'll drop back into that depth again. See if we can't hook up again. Here we go, getting hit now. On. So that's the depth. And if you know what depth the fish are at, you don't go past them. If you drop through them, you only get one shot at them. If you can stop at the depth they are, then you can keep that lure in their sight and hook them up. One of the key things when you can trust your sounder is being able to do nice short drifts. You don't need to go right back up following your GPS and just hope to drift through. I'll just go back up 50 metres. Find the sign again and just do a very quick drift through because I'm expecting to hook up straight away, and that's the difference. Right, here he comes. He looks well hooked, hooked on both hooks just, so I'm going to lift him in. Oh yeah. And look at that, for a beautiful snapper. Look how he's grabbed that pirate. Boom, hooked him right in the lip, just beautifully. So he's a little bit too bloated, so I'm not going to be able to let him go. So I'm going to put him in the icy tech and we'll eat him later. What I'm going to use now is the Daiwa Saltiga Slow Knuckle, 200 gram version, and it's going to flutter down a bit. So I'm going to chuck that in, see how we go. Oi. It's weird, you think you've got to keep these lures moving, but often just by giving a lift and then stopping it there, that's when it's just sitting there and you're having a rest, that's when something will come along and grab it. So don't be afraid to mix up the technique a bit. Oh, here we go. That's high up in the water, that one. Oh, nice power. Nice power, nice weight. It's got to be a good 15 metres off the bottom. Oh, what's happened? No, it's still there. When you're coming this far out, you've got to make sure you've checked the forecast and that it's accurate. Yesterday was nice and calm. Tomorrow's meant to be nice and calm, and the forecast for today was nice and calm. So that tells me that we're in a nice settled patch of weather. If it was forecast to get rough like tonight, I'd be less confident, but because tomorrow's only going to be kind of 5 knots as well, then there's a very good chance the forecast they're giving for today, which is about 7 to 8 knots, but it's probably blowing 12, but there's a good chance that that forecast is going to be accurate, so that gives me confidence to head out wide and catch these fish. And a whole lot of dolphins just came smoking past them. How awesome is that? Just got absolutely smoked by a whole lot of dolphins. They're still swimming around. Get this guy in. Look at them there. They are loving it. And there he is. Another nice snapper. Caught on the Daiwa slow knuckle.
Coming up.
So today, I'm going to share a few tips from the Legacy Fish Care program, because every little bit helps, eh? Now, I love fishing, and I care about the fish that I catch. I care about the fish that I eat, I care about the fish that I release, and as a hunter-gatherer, learning how to take care of fish is something that's really important to me. Now, over the years, I've learned a ton from Legacy. So today, I'm going to share a few tips from the Legacy Fish Care program, because every little bit helps, eh? And maybe this is where the big ones are.
Is that my rod again, Craig?
Maybe.
Healthy, hungry spring snapper were on the bite today. Finding some marks on the sounder and drifting over with our slow jig lures was working a treat. Everyone was hooking into some beautiful eating fish. Well, he deserves to go then. I lost my lucky lure. Oh, gutted. Net next time, eh?
Here you go, Mandy, that's what this is for.
Yeah, next time. Oh, gutted.
Well, they said bite time was 11 o'clock. Guess what?
Oh, hang on. What's going on? Oh, look, sorry for that interruption, mate.
Yep.
Oh, nice, mate. Oh, is that what you guys have been up to?
There's a good one down there.
Oh, good one.
Well, yeah, that was a good take too. Yes. Oh, spring fishing out in the Hauraki Gulf. Absolutely stunning.
Net for that one, Mandy?
Let's see, he's going to be a good eater, that's for sure. Oh, yeah, nice fish. Nah, I should be able to lift him out, mate. Look at that. Perfect. Perfect, healthy springtime snapper. There we go. He's definitely coming home. And there we go. Right in the lips there. Perfect. Ooh, cray. Go on, boy.
I was actually just putting Adam's rod back down for him. And
Starting to feel left out, guys. Share the love. I've got a little 40-gram pirate on that one, Craig. Orange pirate. And as I said to you, because the wind knocked off, I got down to a lighter lure. It's definitely getting the hits, eh?
yeah.
Oh yeah, mate. Beauty. On the pirate, eh? The old pirate.
Nice.
Beautiful
I'll take
fish.
that one, thank you.
Okay, I'll let you have it.
You earned that one, Adam. Yeah, and that's where these pliers come in handy, right, for these jigs, because it's just a little flick and away goes. Small hooks on slow jigs mean lip-hooked fish that are more likely to survive. Now the recommendation used to be to use a rag. As you can see, I've wet my hands and I'm just going to release them back into the water like that. A rag can rub off the protective layer on their skin. So use a wet towel on your hands, not on the fish. Wet your hands, handle them gently and get them back in the water as soon as possible. And if you can, try to handle the fish around the gill plate away from the flesh.
Okay, time for another drop, and the salter slow knuckle is working a treat. Quite often, you'll get a bite on the drop.
Fishing today with modern day lures like inch-coup slow jigs, really good way to fish for fish. Generally you'll catch fish that are legal size, and you'll hook fish less often in the guts and the gills, which means if you've got an unwanted species you can release them unharmed. So fishing with modern day lures is best practice, and definitely part of the fish care program in terms of being able to reduce your impact on the environment. Nice eating size snapper coming up.
Oh yeah, that is a beauty. Awesome, mate.
Now I see Scott, his stomach's blown up there. What's the deal if you want to release them and they got a stomach blown out like that?
If this was an undersized fish, or we wanted to release it with the stomach coming out here, we just use the point of the hook just like this, and just give a little prick like that. It's starting to deflate, and that means the fish would actually get down. There was an Australian study that showed that just by doing that, the survival rate was actually pretty good to be able to get the fish back down to its preferred depth and not suffer the effects of barotrauma. So you can do that if you want to get them back down. If I was going to release them, I wouldn't have my fingers in the gills. That's definitely a no-no, obviously, if you're going to release them. But this is a really nice prime eating snapper, and he's going to taste very nice.
Well, we just got the call from one of our mates that it's all happening down the Firth end. So we've just come down, there's birds everywhere. The tide's starting to run now, so more current. So hopefully we've found where the big ones are.
Because I'm keen as to have my arms stretched today.
Well, it's just all happening here. We've positioned ourselves up current from where all the action was and just drifted into it without disturbing the workup. And it's just hook up after hook up. And the birds are sitting there having a feed, the dolphins are going nuts, as Mandy said. And I finally get to wind in a fish. And I feel like it's quite a good one. Been using an orange pirate in different sizes all day. When the workups are going pretty hard like this, you know the fish are going to take on the drop, so you can use a heavier lure. When it was hard work, I wanted the natural action of the lure, so I went to a lighter, like 40 gram. Now I'm on like an 80 gram. I just got nailed before it got to the bottom.
Oh, Adam, yeah!
I said to Mandy, I'm sure there's a bigger one to come yet.
Yeah.
She didn't know I was going to catch it though.
This is why we haven't let you fish much today, Adam.
There we go.
Each time I hook up, I am hoping it's going to be a big one. Just haven't had my arms really stretched recently. There's nothing quite like the feeling of your reel screaming and your rod double right over. This feels like a solid snap though. Beauty, good solid fish.
With a bin of beautiful eating fish, we headed back to the OPC in the heart of downtown Auckland for a bit of clean-up and kai sharing.
Now, until recently, members of the Outboard Boating Club here in Auckland would throw the heads and frames away. Now they've partnered up with the Papatuanuku Marae out at South. They've set up this amazing filleting station with bins where members of the club can gift their heads and frames to people in the community who really appreciate it. There is no waste whatsoever, which is just a beautiful thing. Now to Māori, the heads and frames they call rangatira kai, which means the food of chiefs. And that's because the taste around the bones, the cheeks and the meat that's right on the bones is the tastiest. So if you have never tried the heads and frames, I would thoroughly recommend it. And the cheeks, mwah.
Try them smoked, baked or simply boil them up.
A good filleting knife is worth its weight in gold. So there we go. We've got the heads, we've got the frame and wings, and look how much meat is on there. I think the fillets make up about 30% of a fish. And all of this is really good kai.